All right, I just want to say a few words to the parents out here. I want to first thank you for being here because there's too many parents that aren't making efforts like you all are making today. And so I first just want to start by giving yourselves a round of applause for being here. Give yourself a round of applause. I want to leave you with just a few things. One thing that I think is critical as parents, we have to think as CEOs, as leaders of our own lives. You have a great responsibility, as you know, trying to develop the young minds of your children. And I just want to leave you with a few points about having a mindset to win. And it's a battle. When we talk about raising our children, it's definitely a battle. And some things that we use even in business as a CEO are things that we have to use as parents, because we're trying to run some serious business, which is the lives of our kids. How to get them to develop, how to get them to be successful. And I want to just put some things on your mind, some key things that all CEOs must do, that we almost all must do as parents to make sure that we're doing our jobs in the best way. One of the first things we have to be able to do, we have to be able to set direction and then begin to lead. And so when we think about setting direction, we have to be able to think about where are we trying to take our children, where are we trying to take ourselves. Before we can lead our children, we have to first lead our own life. A lot of times parents are wondering what's wrong with their kids, but to be honest, they have to also think about what might be wrong with them. What is it that we need to get straight in our own life so that we can lead our children in the right direction? They're looking at you as parents, and so we first must begin to have a direction. Oftentimes people wonder, they'll say, why isn't there anyone following me? Well, that's because sometimes you don't know where you're going. So we have to think about where we're trying to go, set a direction, and have the courage to begin to lead. So how much time is spent thinking about where you want to go first, and then where you want to take your children? That's one thing we have to think about. Also, as a CEO, being a parent CEO, we must focus to ensure every element of our life is being served properly. Oftentimes we focus in one area and we let another area become a disaster. We're doing good at making sure maybe that our children are able to get a certain amount of attention, but we're not doing so good on our financial management or on balancing our relationships. And all of these things are impacting the kids. And so we have to think about how to focus on those things that matter and make sure we're giving the proper attention to it. Sometimes we get frustrated, we get tired because it's just a lot trying to balance it all. There's no one giving us a help up or a handout. But we have to begin to think about the fact that I have to focus because it's right. It's what I got to do as a parent, and we can actually succeed. Another thing we have to keep in mind, we must always know our true cash position and take it seriously how we manage what we do have. And so money does play a role. A lot of times because money has become an issue, it's broken down many homes and many families. But to understand what money is and how to manage it in the best way, to not be irresponsible with it, but whatever we do have, to treat it with great respect and use it wisely. This is what oftentimes there's a lot of parents that have messed up their kids' financial mindset, their credit, before they've even turned 18. The kid is messed up. We have to think better about our money and how we use it. And can I get by a round of applause? How many of you think we could all use a little bit more money? Can I get a round of applause on that? Cash is tight right now. You walk around almost mad about the money situation. Gas is high, groceries is high. Everything that we're looking at is expensive. And then we're trying to raise a family and raise a child that is confused and has all these influences coming against them. Well, to do that, we've got to get serious about what we have. It's not what we make, it's what we keep. It's not so much what came in, it's what we left in. So we have to learn how to not keep complaining about the fact that we don't have more, but to look at what we do have and are we using it wisely. There's too many young people and parents today wearing their whole life savings on their body. And so we have to look at where is our money going and how are we using it in the best way to invest in our kids and invest in our household. And that also, as parents, CEOs, we have to know our strengths and our weaknesses. So if you try to act like you have no weaknesses, you're a dangerous parent. We have to be willing to admit we all have some weaknesses that we can make better. Sometimes us parents that are willing to jump in, people who communicate well don't listen well. Some parents who might have the courage to discipline their children won't listen to them when they just want to talk. So to have that balance, we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses, and then to be willing to learn from others. Oftentimes we say, that's what my grandmother told me, my uncle told me. If it was good enough for me, it's good enough for them. Well, we have to think differently, that we always can learn something new, a better way, a different approach. It's a complex job to raise a child, as you all know, and even though I don't have children of my own, I deal with hundreds of kids, and I've dealt with thousands of kids working in Life Skills 411. I've dealt with many parents, and having my home broken, I know what it's like to see a bad parent, and then having godparents come in who did step up and be that parent that I needed. I've seen an example of what good parents can do and bad parents can do. And so we have to know what is our weaknesses and get the help that we need so we can be the best that we can be. Another thing we have to do, we have to be willing to think and be organized. So it's no way you're going to help your children grow up to be responsible, more organized about their classes, about their schooling, about their time, about their money, if you're not first organized yourself. We have to think about that. Not be afraid to admit that maybe we can be more organized with our time, with the way we live our lives. Sometimes, to be honest, when we start getting into the quietness of our home, there's things maybe we're not dealing with that we need to deal with, that if we would get more organized and real about those things, we could be more successful and impactful to our kids. Sometimes we're not giving the appropriate time to our kids because we don't know how to manage our time. So we have to think about that. Being more organized, being willing to set an organized example. One of the last things I want to mention to you as parent CEOs is you have to be, as in business, you have to become the brand that you represent. If I promote one of my businesses, Stellar Enterprise, I have to walk the talk. I have to be that company. If I talk about Life Skills 411, I have to live that. That's what I have to be about. As a parent, when we talk about parenting, we talk about caring, and we talk about giving our kids what they need, we have to make sure we're really walking the talk, becoming the brand. If we talk about our kids needing that attention, are we really giving them the attention that they need? If we talk about wanting our kids to be successful, are we creating an environment at home where success is promoted? So if we have an environment at home where success is not present and real, I'm not talking about the car you drive or how big your home is, I'm talking about a mindset, I'm talking about an attitude, I'm talking about a commitment. And when you have that commitment, that attitude and that heart, it rubs off on our children, makes our children want to press to do more. And this is why we have to be an inspirer, a motivator, someone that is a trailblazer that can push our children to exceed whatever, even what they think they can do. We have to push them that they can do more than even what they thought. But if our children don't see us pushing ourselves, then they won't push themselves. This is what we have to keep in mind. Becoming the brand, striving for excellence at all times. This is what we either going to set an example of excellence or we're going to set an example of just doing enough to get by. This is what it's all about. And so I want to leave these thoughts with you, keeping in mind, as I often say, you are a CEO because you run the business of you. And until you run your business well, you can't expect your children to do that. So let's keep that in mind. And as parents, I want to tell you, I commend you, I applaud you, stay in the fight, never give up. It's a war zone trying to raise these children in the 21st century, but there's going to be some parents that succeed. And despite all the odds, I see future doctors here, future lawyers. I see people here that's going to be successful, these young minds. And every one of them, we don't want to see another one of them shot down or not going to school or not succeeding. And as a community of parents, we can win if we stay in the fight. May God bless you. I appreciate all of you for coming here today.